Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the That Gun of the Wasteland mod, which is being made by user Gecko in a Can 77. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is the classic That Gun, which I personally think of as one of the staple weapons of the franchise, here being in half of all of the Fallout games, and so it's quite nice to see it here in the Commonwealth, and with a couple of different variations, which are pretty cool, which we'll of course talk about when we get to the modification section. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what exactly we are getting with That Gun, which in its most basic and standard form will do 35 damage with a 5.56mm round, with a firing rate of 52, a range of 119, accuracy of 61, and a weight of 4.2. Not too bad there at all. And as you can see, it is an absolutely gorgeous weapon with loads of great detailing. I do love the stamping here on the side of the gun there, and just every little bit and bob is awesome. I really do love this particular iteration of that gun. And like I said before, we've got a couple of other iterations which are, ever so slightly different from one another, which once more we'll talk about in a moment in the modification section. Which, speaking of modifications though, we actually do have a pretty decent list of things to change up on the gun, to change up its damage, its ammunition, and of course all of the various stats. So a lot of fun options, including some very Fallout kind of ones, which of course are always enjoyable, and plus a load of different aesthetic options too with the finish, so you can really paint this thing up to more fit your own personal aesthetic or whatever your character is kind of going for, which is magnificent. But how do you get your hands on one of these lovely guns? Well, it's pretty simple. You just gotta get to level 10, and when you're there, it will be in vendors and very rarely on occasion wherever a 44 Magnum might spawn out in the world. So a little bit awkward compared to most spawns for weapon mods we've looked at, but it's actually intentional. This is meant to be a rare gun, and so you'll primarily find it in vendors rather than on enemies, so it will be very rare. But yeah, once again, wherever there's a 44 Magnum, you might find one of these instead. Now, as for modifications, let's head on over here and talk first about the, type category? I don't even know exactly what to call this category here, but basically, what kind of that gun are you gonna get? Is it going to be the classic 223 pistol, which is the That Gun from Fallout 1 and 2? Is it gonna be the 5.56 pistol, which is the That Gun from Fallout New Vegas? Or will it be one of the two PKDs, which are the That Guns from the Blade Runner movies? And I love that. I had actually forgotten that that gun was modeled after the gun from Blade Runner. So this was a lovely reminder of that, and pretty cool that you can actually get one of those in here. And now, the main three here are all, of course, identical stat-wise. The Bulldog conversion, of course, being a bit shorter, is having less range and weight here. But otherwise, everything else is basically the same. And yeah, just slightly different aesthetic and looks to each of them, which is pretty nifty, and I quite enjoy. I do like having 4 different That Guns based on your own personal preference. My personal favorite's the 5.56 pistol because, well, New Vegas is my favorite Fallout game, and so I'm partial to this one. But next in the grip category, we've got a number of good grips here, from light, solid, amber, black, ivory, wooden, and a tactical grip, which looks very sci-fi. We then have a module category, which can change up the ammunition of the gun, as you can see here, and add additional damage and other effects. So we've got a 44 Magnum conversion, the PKD anti-robotics module, laser aim module, helical ammo extension module, a laser module, plasma module, And finally, a Gauss module, which actually changed up to the 2mm ECs, which is pretty nifty. So you got some really fun additions here, some of which very Fallout, like turning it into a plasma gun. I very much do like that. The helical ammo extension's also pretty interesting, and I'm curious how that would work, like, in real life on a revolver. Huh. But either way, all very, very nifty. Now then, in the sights category, we've got the no iron sight, which is, you know, only for the wicked there. We then have standard glow, hunting glow, reflex, raven scope, raven stabilized, and Olympic scout scope. Now in the muzzle category, we've got a nothing, a muzzle brake, heavy compensator, and an SJM barrel extension, which is very strange looking, but does kind of give it an interesting and unique look, especially with certain finishes to the gun later. Now next we have the internals, which are of course standard is rusted. We then have repaired, which is going to do more damage. Factory quality, even more. Armored, even more damage. And finally the fine-tuned, bring it all the way up. And I actually quite like how they do this. It's not like how a lot of mods do of just giving a straight percentage upgrade for free. You've actually got requirements here, so it feels a lot less cheaty, and I very much do enjoy that. And then finally we have the finish category, which is the aesthetics here, where we've got either normal, army, art deco, which I actually really like. I think that's my favorite of them. The blue dyed prototype, a rusted, savage, classic paint job, and finally a tanker one. All very cool, though. Yeah, again, I really like that art deco. That's a very cool, very, very cool skin. And yeah, that's all the different modifications for this gun. A pretty good selection of things that, again, I very much do enjoy. Lots of stuff in there, so you can change it up to have some pretty intriguing guns. And there we go. I've got myself now a 223, 556, and PKD blaster, so we can have a look at all of them. The PKD one is the one I got it to the highest amount of damage using the 44 round and well, these various things, which got us up to 93 damage without any other additional perks. Now, with those, of course, you should be able to get a little bit more out of it, and I at least think this is the highest I was able to get to. I may be slightly wrong on that, but nonetheless, let's get to shooting. There we go. Start with, of course, the standard. And there we go. Very cool reload animation. I actually really do like that. The gun itself actually is quite quick firing, so you can empty all those rounds rather rapidly, which is always good for taking out multiple enemies and putting enough damage downrange. But yeah, that animation is just so fun. Alright, so then let's take a look at the 556 one here, which I actually put up with the 2mm EC and a nice little scope. There we go. It's basically a miniature Gauss rifle, though it does not have the capability of charging. It's just a straight trigger pull there. But still, pretty decent damage with it. 80 there without, again, any additional perks. And with a scope, makes for quite a compact little sniper rifle. Not too shabby at all. And there we are. And then finally, playing around with the PKD blaster here with that 44 rounds and that fun little scope. What was it called again there? Hold on. Oh, just the reflex sight. I thought it was the Raven one there, but no, that's just the reflex sight. A very nice and unique designed one. I enjoy. There we go. And as you can see, slightly different animation on that one, which is interesting. But yeah, just cool to see the different animations. I still think my personal favorite, though, is, of course, the one on the earlier guns. That one feels a bit slow, but still neat. Alright, so let's take a look at this thing in use, and of course, spawn ourselves our usual friend and test partner, the Deathclaw. There we go, run away. And no great shots on anything, but okay, we'll shoot at his arm. With one shot and a miss. Okay, there we go. I missed several of those shots now. Alright, reload. And half decent shots. Oh, run away. Oh, always love cheesing the poor Deathclaw here. Yeah, gonna take a little bit to take him down, isn't it? Even with the 93 damage. I mean, it would definitely help if I hit every shot, but that's me. Oh god, up we go. Alright, he's mostly down. Let's actually finish him up with the 5.561 so that we've got the those 2mm EC rounds. Get some use out of them. Ooh, getting some good hits on him there. And some misses as well. And the cool little automatic reload there. Love it. Ooh, that was a good hit. That was a miss. Good hit. Oh, God. Ooh. And that last one could have ended him, but it didn't. There we go. Lovely. Take that, Deathclaw. And just for good measure. Lovely. But yes, that is the That Gun of the Wasteland mod, giving you a lovely little selection of that guns to choose from, depending on which one is your favorite, from whether just aesthetically wise or franchise wise. And with all the modifications, you can make some pretty interesting and strange guns like this one. And it's just overall a neat weapon expansion to the game. So if you'd like to take a look at it for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. Well, that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed and you come back for whatever's next. But until that time, thank you for watching as always. Well, have a good one.